Hello, Algebra 1. Today we're going to be in lesson 2.7 in your class notes, and we're going to be working on acceptable and non-acceptable steps of equations and looking at sometimes when there is no solution to an equation. So right here, what I'd like you guys to do first is check, is 0 a solution for each equation? So I'm going to put 2 minutes on. I want you guys to look at each of these 4 equations and see if 0 is a solution. Alright, time's up. So, let's see what we did here. If I want to check if 0 is a solution, I've seen 2 main ways students tend to attack this problem. The first is, well, what if I actually replace x with 0? Let's see, does this give me 10? Well, 0 plus 2, so does this give me 10? 0 plus 2 is 2, and this parentheses means multiplication. 4 times 2 is 8. That does not equal 10. So, no. Okay. Alternatively, what some people will do is actually solve the equation for x to find out what x is. And a strategy there is to distribute the 4. So I get 4x plus 8 equals 10. Subtract 8 on both sides to isolate the 4x. And then divide both sides by 4 to get x by itself. And then we get x equals 2/4, which is 1/2. So if x is 1/2, then it can't be 0. So that's another way of saying, so 0 is not the solution. So those are 2 alternate ways of doing it. So if I look at number, or the second one here on the right, if I plug 0 in, is 12 minus 8 times 0 equal to 3 times 0 plus 4? If so, then 0 is a solution. Well, 8 times 0 is 0. So this is 12 minus 0, which is 12. 0 plus 4 is 4, and 3 times 4 is 12. These are, in fact, equal, so the answer is yes, 0 is a solution. And if you tried solving for x, instead of checking if x is 0 is a solution, we start by distributing. We're going to get 3x plus 12 over here when we simplify, and 12 minus 8x on the right. I'm going to get all the x's on one side. I'm going to do that by adding 8x to both sides. That's not the only way to do it, but that's the way I did it. And then we get 12 equals 8, 9, 10, 11x plus 12. And then when I subtract 12 on both sides, a lot of people get stuck here. And if you're one of those people, that's okay. 12 minus 12 is 0, but when I cancel those out, I got to put something here because there's some value that 11x is equal to, and 12 minus 12 is just 0. So if that's the case, then just divide both sides by 11, and 0 divided by 11 is 0. So again, that shows that 0 is a solution. All right. Down here, if I plug 0 in, is 5 times 0 the same thing as 1/2 times 0? And so if I want to find out if they're the same thing, let's see, 5 times 0 is equal to 0, and 1/2 times 0 is also equal to 0. Those are equal. So again, yes, 0 is a solution. Right? If I wanted to solve that on my own, maybe I didn't know that that was the answer, what I would do is to get all the x on one side, I would subtract half of x on both sides. Now when I do that, kind of like what happened over here, is 1/2 x minus 1/2 x. When I cancel it out, I'm going to put a 0 here, because that's what I get, and 5x minus 1/2 x is 4.5 x. So that's just 5 minus 1/2. And then if I divide both sides by 4.5, the 4.5's divide out, and I'm left with x equals 0 divided by anything other than 0 is 0. So again, we get the same solution either way. Now this last one, I'm curious what you guys tried on this one. If I were to plug in 0 here, what is 6 divided by 0 plus 1? Well, the thing is, this right here is undefined. You can't actually divide by 0. If you guys tried that on your calculator, you would have gotten something like an error. And that's because we can divide by any number we want except 0. If I took the value of 6, say I had $6, and I divided amongst 0 people, how much would each people get? And it doesn't work. Or if I want to take, how many groups of 0 would it take to make 6? And it's impossible. And certainly if you add 1 to something that's undefined, it doesn't equal 8. So 0 is definitely not a solution here. If anyone tried to find the solution, probably subtracted 1 on both sides, which would be legitimate. And then we got 6 over x equals 7. Now, what I would do here is multiply, now that I know x is not 0, multiply both sides by x to get it out of the denominator. So then I get 6 equals 7x, and then divide both sides by 7. And so the answer is going to be whatever 6/7 is. And that is one way to get the answer on your own. But again, 0 is not a solution there. So anyways, what we're doing here is testing whether 0 is a solution. And we're going to come back to 2 ideas from this. This one right here, can't divide by 0. And this situation right here, when how do you solve an equation where you have kind of an x on both sides and one of them gets eliminated.